Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering the Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, Ohio State head coach Ryan Day, a restaurant that is completely run by robots, and make sure that you stick around for later in the show when we'll be covering the oddities of the day. Before we start, I'd like to ask that you like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Good morning, Tate. How are you?
Good morning, Miss Faith. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well.
All right. I'd already commented on the hair today because you had it straight.
Yeah.
So I like the straight. You have a lot of different looks. They're all very cool.
Thank you. Yeah, my hair is.
I was gonna say I'm more one tone.
Yeah. My hair is super naturally curly, so I normally wear it like that because I don't really have to it. But I told Tate before we started the show, I had major bedhead this morning, so I had to do something with it.
But it's kind of cool because you have this super curly hair that's really cool and stylish, and then out of nowhere you can be like, bam, I got it straight today. What's going on?
Yeah.
It's like, go with your mood.
Yeah. Being a woman you can be very versatile with a lot of things, which I like.
I can't do that. I can't be like, you know what? I'm going to keep it short today.
Well, you
could,
do
it straight.
Just pop a wig on or something.
Oh, that will never, ever happen. It's kind of like, I don't have a problem if some guy out there wants to wear a wig, that is cool, but I can't do the wig, and the dresses and the skirts that the guys are wearing now. You will never catch me in that outfit. You will not.
Well, I will say, toupees have gotten a lot better since the years have passed. I see stuff on my TikTok of guys getting toupees, and a lot of them I can't even tell that it's fake hair. They're getting.
I am quite blessed in this category where I don't have to wear it.
Yeah.
I'm the weird guy that actually my hair is getting a little long. I'll cut it back to being short. But I've been blessed that I have a full head of hair.
Yeah.
And don't have to do that. I don't know about this whole, toupee, spraying it on, tattooing it on. There's a saying called "come on home." That's when your hairline starts going way back here. You just got to come on home and just shave it. For all you guys that are holding on, you got the wreath around your head and everything else, just come on home. You're gonna be better off.
God. Alrighty.
Sorry.
Well,
this is a public service announcement. Just come on home.
Okay. Well, with that, let's
Sorry,
dive
baby.
in.
I know you weren't prepared for that.
Dive into our first topic of the day. We're going to be discussing the Dallas Cowboys owner, Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has stated that he is all in for the 2024 season. The question is, are the Dallas Cowboys close to reaching the Super Bowl? They beat a Detroit Lions team a month ago that should have been preparing for the Super Bowl this week. Instead, the Lions blew a 17-point halftime lead in the 49ers in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. The Cowboys, on the other hand, were blown out by 32 points in Week 5 at San Francisco. For the third consecutive off-season, the Cowboys are at the Senior Bowl this week after suffering an early playoff exit that followed a 12-win season. As you might expect, Cowboys owner and general manager Jerry Jones didn't think his team is far off. That's why he ultimately decided to bring back coach Mike McCarthy for a fourth season. Jones commented, "I believe this team is very close and capable of achieving our ultimate goals with Mike McCarthy as our head coach." My question for you is, do you think it's a good idea to bring Mike McCarthy back for a fifth season? Because I know you're a big Dallas Cowboys fan,
I am
right?
a huge Dallas Cowboy fan, but I am not a delusional Dallas Cowboy fan. I've been a
Yeah.
fan since the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I go way back, and look at the Cowboys and Jerry Jones very differently. Where I know a lot of the media really attacks Jerry Jones and bashes Jerry Jones. I look at it as not as a Cowboy fan, but the fact is, Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboy organization is one of the best organizations in the NFL. Not as a fan. I know a lot of people are probably jumping out of their seat right now. But when you look at the Dallas Cowboys and you say over the last 20 years, the Cowboys and the 49ers have been consistently the best drafters of talent in the NFL,
Mm-hmm.
where consistently they find the Dak Prescotts, the Tony Romos, the Ezekiel Elliott, the CeeDee Lambs, the Micah Parsons. They find quality players in the draft. They tend to build more through the draft than most teams, meaning they are quite a successful organization. Then you look at the Cowboys and their performance. The last 3 years, 12-win season, 12-win season, 12-win season. If you go back the last few decades, Dallas has consistently been that regular season team that performs well, but they always crash in the playoffs. They have
Mm-hmm.
been consistently crashing in the playoffs. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine last night who's been a Dallas Cowboy fan for longer than I have been a Dallas Cowboy fan. And he was like, we were talking about the fact that Dallas could compete with everyone that made it to the playoffs. Dallas had beat Detroit. I thought Dallas would have been a much better team against the 49ers this year. And I thought the Dallas Cowboys could have made it to the Super Bowl. And he was like, "No, I don't want them in the Super Bowl. All they're gonna do is break my heart. If they go to the Super Bowl, I'll get all hyped up and have my hopes all high just to get them dashed." And that's the way a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans feel nowadays, that they're Wile E. Coyote and they're waiting on that anvil. Like, I got the road runner, I got him by his neck, anvil hits him in the head, and it's over. And that's what has happened as a Dallas Cowboy fan. Now, I look at what Jerry Jones has said here, and he says all or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what made me shake my head. And I'm a big Jerry Jones fan. I love I've gone to a number of Cowboys games. I feel like I've been to games all over the country, and I feel like no one takes care of their fans better than the Dallas Cowboys. But why people attack Jerry Jones is this statement right here. We're all in for next year. Newsflash. We were all in this year.
Yeah.
Newsflash. We were all in the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that. I don't think I would like to have seen Jerry hold that more to the chest. It's understood that the Dallas Cowboys are all in, but when you make statements like this, when the media is looking for this, right before the Super Bowl, where it's like, hey, you could have been there, but your team blew it, to say, hey, we're all in this for this next year. Well, this year's not over.
Keep that to yourself. You don't have to get that because you're just looking for fodder, cannon fodder. Just I mean, you're there's no reason to make these types of statements. Now, your question that you asked me is, should Mike McCarthy have been allowed to come back? And the answer is yes. Now, I'm gonna play this two sides. Number one, if you're truly all in and you're saying this is the last year, if Jerry Jones really means this is next year is the last year, we're going all in, we're sticking with McCarthy, we're sticking with Dak Prescott, and we're all in, and he means it, then yes, he should have stuck with him. Because of the fact that when I think of a team saying all in, Dak Prescott's contract is up. Are you going to pay Dak $50 million a year to just go out in the first round year after year? I'm a Dak Prescott fan. But what's been happening is doing the same thing over and over and hoping for a different outcome. That's what the Cowboys have been doing. Mm-hmm. Also, a cliche of insanity. And that's what it's like to be a Dallas Cowboy fan, is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different outcome, only to get clubbed over the head with a big blowout by the Packers, and watching Detroit, who should be in the Super Bowl, a team that we just beat.
Yeah.
And I say we like I played for the Dallas Cowboys. I barely can drive to the stadium, let alone play for them. So no, I don't think I am like other people that Jerry Jones needs to go. No, he doesn't. The Cowboys organization has consistently brought in top quality talent who consistently wins and consistently perform incredibly well. Dallas Cowboys is among the top teams that have more Pro Bowlers in the Pro Bowl year after year after year. That's a good organization who knows how to draft and develop talent. Mm-hmm. What people don't like about the Cowboys is the fact that you're making statements like this. Now, if the Cowboys were, now you asked me about Mike McCarthy, if the Cowboys were going to go out on a limb and say, you know what, we're going to change our organization up and we're going to go after Harbaugh or someone like that, a younger guy with fresh ideals, something like that, yes. Or if you're all in, if the Cowboys don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, McCarthy's gone, we're not going to pay Dak. We're gonna start rebuilding and seeing maybe what Trey Lance looks like, or we're gonna draft a quarterback and start developing for the future as we start transitioning from Jerry Jones to his son. If he's serious about we're all in, then go all in and say, this is what we're doing. He's not going to do that, because if you look at this team and they do another 12-win season, they win the division or make the wild card, and there's big high hopes that this is the year the Cowboys are going to make the Super Bowl, and then they go in there and they get clubbed and tossed aside again. Are you going to rinse and repeat again and again and mm-hmm. again? That's the question that I ask. I would like to see Jerry, if there's anything to help the Cowboys, and I love seeing Jerry as a fan, not make these comments, stop doing the radio show, because there's so much cannon fodder that is created by him, which puts more pressure. There's a giant spotlight on that star of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think it's not the organization that's been hurting them, but that pressure. You go in there tight. When you play Green Bay came out, smacked you in the mouth, got out to a lead, they got tight. Unlike the 49ers, where Detroit came in, smacked them in the mouth, they were able to circle the wagons and get things back together and then have a massive comeback. The Cowboys, that's the big difference between the 49ers and the Cowboys. composure. The 49ers have consistently showed composure so that they can keep going and win that game and propel them to the Super Bowl, where the Dallas Cowboys, as talented as they can get, when things get tough, they get tight. And instead, they got blown out. And they're at the Senior Bowl looking at doing what they do best, bringing in top quality talent for another year that most likely could be disappointing.
So you think composure has something to do with why they do so well in the playoffs then?
Absolutely. It's pressure. They have all the talent. They got a great defense. They've known to have a pretty decent offensive line. Great receivers. The running game has been a little was shaky this year. But Dallas has it all. Tight end, coaching, player development, great, amazing facilities. But when the pressure gets on them, that's where things have changed. There's so much pressure because everyone knows the biggest brand in all of sports. It's not the Yankees. It's not New England. It's not Manchester United. It's the Dallas Cowboys. And that comes with a bright light, and a bright light burns you. Mm-hmm. And that's what, and Cowboys have been burnt more than any team of the last 20 years.
Well, do you think it's going to be the same as it was this past year then, where they're going to do well for those 12 games and then not do well in the playoffs? Or do you think that maybe, since I guess Jerry Jones says they're all in this year, that they may make it to the Super Bowl next year?
Okay, that's a great question. In previous years, I thought the Dallas Cowboys were a team that could contend in the playoffs, but they would need a lot of help to get to the Super Bowl. Last year, year before last, I did not think the Cowboys were going to go to the Super Bowl. But this year, when you looked at the Cowboys, I was like, okay, they are going to have home field advantage except for the NFC Championship game. They got a solid defense, an unbelievable offense, solid coaching. Mike McCarthy may have a few little issues with time management, things of that nature, but the Cowboys are solid. The only way I see the Cowboys not making the Super Bowl is a Herculean effort by the 49ers, or they get into a game that they should win and they get tight. And exactly what happened. So next year, do I think the Cowboys have a shot at making the Super Bowl? Absolutely. But next year, Green Bay's not going to be this upstart team. Green Bay's going to be better. Detroit's going to be better. Mm-hmm. The 49ers are loaded. The competition next year is going to be tougher, not easier. And so they didn't make it this year. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens next year. And you do not know. You can say you're all in, but an injury here, an injury there, an NFL season is one of those things. I would like to just say to see Jerry just kind of hold back on some of these. We're all in. We need Dak to do this or that. If you be more like some of the Patriots owner or some of the other owners, where I'm for Jerry and the Jones family handling the back office and making the draft picks and making the decisions, but maybe turn that spotlight down a little bit by just being quiet a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely think that next year will be a lot more tougher and more competitive, because a lot of these teams that weren't very good are coming up and doing a lot better.
Because Green Bay and Detroit are going to be a handful. Mm-hmm. Philadelphia, who started out with 10 wins to start the season, if they get a few things right, Philadelphia is going to be tough to deal with. San Francisco is San Francisco. Those are all real teams. Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting to see. There's no guarantee. That's why I just say, why? Because even the fact that we're talking about this, mm-hmm. Jerry Jones says he's all in. this is before the Super Bowl is in a week and a half, let's just say. There's no reason to make that to have that conversation, because now Dak, when you see him at the Super Bowl, Jerry Jones says he's all in. Does that mean if you guys don't make it this year, you're not going to be a Cowboy? It starts playing in people's head. Mm-hmm. And by maybe not creating that undue pressure, you see Mike McCarthy. Jerry Jones said, we're all in. You're on your last year of your contract. You're a lame duck coach. You're on the hot seat. Do you feel like you're on the hot seat? Yeah. It plays into the psyche of a team. And that's where Jerry hurts the Cowboys most. Everything else, I think he's stellar. It's just he likes to talk. He likes to be bigger than life and make these broad statements or these huge statements that then the players have to cash that check that he's written. And it's nothing has shown that they have that ability in the playoff to say, all right, the rubber meets the road, we're doing this.
Wow.
This is such a somber conversation.
Yeah. Well, speaking of coaches in the hot seat, after we take a quick break, we're going to be talking about Ryan Day, who also seems to be in the hot seat. So we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll discuss that. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier we were talking about Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, and now we're going to dive into Ohio State's head coach Ryan Day. Before that, I just wanted to remind you that if you guys are really enjoying the show, want to send us a comment, we can make sure that we see your comment if you use the tips and donation link, and that link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. It puts your question at the top of the list so that I'm able to see it, and it also just really helps the show. But let's get into it.
Okay.
Got a little confused there. Well, I know you're about to dive into this, but it's kind of funny as I was thinking about the first topic with Jerry Jones talking about being all in. Mm-hmm. This next topic is again another situation where someone or an organization is all in. And then the one after that is a situation where everyone's all in. That's the theme of today's show.
All in.
All right, fire away.
Alrighty. Ryan Day, who is the Ohio State's head coach, could be in the hot seat heading into 2024. The Ohio State Buckeyes had a year that most programs would consider a success in 2023, winning 11 games and finishing the year with a New Year's Six Bowl appearance. However, these accomplishments were soured by their third consecutive loss to Michigan and an abysmal showing in the Cotton Bowl loss to Missouri. As a result, there is a good deal of frustration amongst the Ohio State fan base in regards to the performance of head coach Ryan Day. If Day doesn't win the Big Ten, make a run in the 2024 12-team college football playoff, things could begin to get uncomfortable for the Buckeyes head man.
Okay. All right. So, first off, I am technically the biggest traitor on the planet. I just want you to know that. I'm going to lead off by that.
Meaning what?
Born and raised in Ohio.
And you're a Michigan fan?
Yes.
Wow.
So, I am born and raised in Ohio, and I know how big Ohio State is. I mean, Ohio State is everything in Ohio. In Northeast Ohio, it's Ohio State and the Cleveland Browns. And I'm not really a fan of either. I support, if Michigan isn't in the running and Ohio State's doing well, I'm that guy that can step back and be like, if Michigan's out of it or Miami's out of it, I'm going to support Ohio State and I hope they do well. Mm-hmm. Or I support the Big Ten, whoever's in the Big Ten. I want Michigan to go Michigan 1, but then the Big Ten, I'm there to promote them and support them. Mm-hmm. Now, with Ohio, first off, people are just rabbit crazy about Ohio State and Ohio. And you look around and Ohio fans have a major hatred for Michigan, which makes no sense to me. But I understand wanting to beat your rival, but for me, if Michigan's doing well and Ohio State's out of it, I think that they want Big Ten first, kind of like the SEC is. Mm-hmm. Sure, Georgia might not have made it, but Georgia wants the SEC to do well. Alabama might not have made it, but they want the SEC to do well. Not so much in Ohio. It is not that way. It's Ohio State first and anybody against Michigan. That is just the way it is. Mm-hmm. Now, you turn around and Ryan Day comes to Ohio State after Urban Meyer, and he has been a success. He has been what most programs would be, just a screaming success, mm-hmm. except for in Ohio, because the rule is they can handle not winning the national championship, but they cannot handle losing to Michigan. Not 1 year, but 2 years. 3 years? Oh no, they're losing their mind. And when I was in Ohio in October, I spent a month in Ohio, and people were already like, get him out of here. He can't win against Michigan. We want him out of here. Ryan Day's been a phenomenal coach. This year, since the season has ended, Ohio State has put millions into their transfer portal, bringing in a top quarterback, bringing in quality players, estimated over $16 million that they have put into the transfer portal, bringing in this new team. As I told you in previous episodes, the 3 best teams in college football, in my opinion, it goes number 3, Georgia, number 2, Oregon, but number 1 is Ohio State. Ohio State has filled in everywhere that they were weak, they are strong. Mm-hmm. Their weakness has become a strength. They are a powerhouse. They're going to contend for the national championship. Michigan's going to take a little bit of a fall back. But if you look at Ohio State and you say, hey, we went all in on the transfer portal. We put more money in the transfer portal than we have ever done. Harbaugh, he's deuces. He's gone. We have a first-year coach, someone that we don't really know, and now he's going to come in, and if Ryan Day loses, cancel Christmas. Cancel Christmas. It is over. He is gone. He can go all year and go and win every single game. If he goes in and he loses to Michigan, they're going to want him fired. If he goes in and loses to Michigan, makes the college football playoff now that there's 12 teams, and let's say somehow they win the national championship, but they lost to Michigan. Ohio State, the university, is not going to fire Ryan Day, but I'm going to tell you this: there's going to be a bunch of people that's like, we want to get rid of him. Even if they lose to Michigan but win the national championship, there's going to be a subgroup out there that wants Ryan Day gone. That's how crazy they are when it comes to this Ohio State-Michigan game. That even for some people, it's winning the national championship is less important than beating Michigan. That's how rabid they are. Now, as a University of Georgia student, if Georgia went into this year and got smoked by Alabama, I mean like destroyed, but they were able to somehow get into the playoff and win the national championship. In Georgia, it would be like, I'm not happy about that that Alabama game, but we won the national championship. Yeah. Let's celebrate. There's going to be that in an Ohio State as well. There'll be a large group of them, but there will be a subgroup that's just not happy because they lost to Michigan 4 years in a row. That's how crazy they are about that Ohio State-Michigan game.
That just baffles me, honestly.
You don't understand how important. Listen, I have friends that I haven't seen since high school, and I'm in my 50s. Haven't seen 4 years ago, when Ohio State beat Michigan. There was a lot of people in Ohio that were really nervous about that game, but they won. I had people looking me up and finding me and calling my house, sending things to my house. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And I'm looking and I'm like, I remember Brian from high school. And I go and I look it up and it's like, I get a message via Facebook that, yeah, hey, did you get my stuff? And it was like, Michigan sucks. I haven't seen you since like 9th grade, dude. I don't even know who you are. But yet I can get a message or a package sent to my house because they know or remember, hey, Andrew Tate liked Michigan and we just whooped their butts and I'm going to let them know.
I feel like
true story.
From like my perspective of being a Georgia fan and like our head-to-head person is Alabama.
Yes.
Georgia fans are not really like that, but
no,
Alabama fans are like that. So if Bama wins, all over my social media, people that I am friends with that are Alabama fans, it will be Georgia sucks, Roll Tide, all of that, you know. And of course, like if Georgia beats Alabama, yes, the Bulldog fans will give them a little bit of a hard time, but we're not. And maybe this is just me, I don't know, but in my opinion, we're not like that.
See, I'm closer to this than you realize. My dad's family is from the South, primarily Alabama. And so I've spent a lot of time down there. I've been to Tuscaloosa games and everything. And I've also been to Georgia. I've been to college football games all over the country. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Georgia rolls in there. It's kind of like, hey, we want to put our boot on their neck. We want to, and we want to win. Auburn and Alabama, Auburn is a bigger rivalry than Georgia is, but Georgia's number 2. But when it's all over, I've seen this with my own family. It's kind of like, well, you know, Georgia kind of sucks, but they're SEC and SEC is going to do this. Yeah. And so they can kind of check themselves and be like, hey, we still won. We're the South.
We won. SEC. No, it's the hell with the Big Ten. If Michigan's doing it, no, I don't care. They want Georgia. They want Alabama. They want anyone to beat Michigan. That's what I have seen growing up in Ohio, even this year.
Well, I'm starting to understand what you say by saying being a coach is a thankless job.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
Ryan Day has done a very, very good job with
Phenomenal
Ohio
job.
State. And the fact that they're thinking of not keeping him just because they've lost to Michigan State 3 years in a row. That's, in my opinion, I think
not
it's
Michigan, not Michigan State. Michigan.
Michigan,
Ohio don't give a crap about Michigan State.
Well, losing to Michigan for 3 times in a row, I think putting him on the hot seat for that, for me, in my opinion, I think is very stupid. I think that is a stupid thing to be worried about when they've won 11 games in 2023 and was in the New Year's Six Bowl. Like, I don't
look at these two conversations that we're having here, though. Segment 1 and segment 2. Mike McCarthy, 12-win season, won the NFC East, made the playoffs, had a home playoff game. Majority of probably a huge, maybe majority of the people expected and wanted McCarthy to be fired. If he does this again and he has a phenomenal year, win the NFC East, #1 seed, doing really well, if they don't make it to the Super Bowl, off with his head. Ryan Day, go through, win every single game on their schedule, and loses that last game to Michigan. He's not coming back. He's gonna have if he loses to Michigan, he's gonna have to win the national make the playoffs, win the national championship to survive, because I think he's gone. That's my opinion. I don't have a crystal ball to know, but I can say with pretty strong confidence, he is a goner.
That's such a shame. I mean,
okay, here's one. Let me throw a curveball at you. Ohio State, they go through. They're having a good year, and let's say they lose to Oregon. Let's say they drop a game to Penn State or USC. So they had 2 losses this year. Maybe though, let's say they lost 3 games. They lost 3 games. They go into that Ohio State game, that Ohio State Michigan game, and they destroy Michigan. He's getting a contract extension. Seriously, I bet you he would get a contract extension.
What is
a 3-loss season, and you destroyed Michigan? He's staying. He is staying.
I don't understand this beef. I really don't understand this beef.
Now do you understand why the Ohio State Michigan game is the biggest college football game in the country? I've been to the biggest outdoor cocktail party. I've been to Florida State, Miami. I've been to the Alamo Bowl. I've been to Clemson's games. I've done it all. There's nothing bigger than that Ohio State Michigan game. The Super Bowl. That's and honestly, I would rather go to the Ohio State Michigan game than the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm more of a college football person too, so I agree with that.
But it's a madhouse. You go to the Ohio State Michigan game, and I've been there. I've been there in Columbus. I've been there in Ann Arbor. Let's say you're in Ann Arbor. The last time I went there, it was I think it was like 110,000 people in the stadium. And there was like 60,000 people outside the stadium. These jokers didn't even have tickets. They were just there to take part. 60,000 people who didn't have tickets, who were just there to party and be a part of it, didn't even have tickets to the game. They were just there to support their team. Most teams don't even get 60,000 people to be in the stadium. They got 110 in the stadium and 60 out of the stadium. That's how crazy it is.
Well,
Little different. And Georgia's the cream of the crop.
yeah.
One of the least, but that's that Ohio State Michigan game and why it is different. And I've been to both, and it's no competition in my eyes.
Well, I guess keep Ryan Day in your thoughts and send him good vibes, because
Thoughts and prayer to Ryan Day.
Because if he doesn't win that Michigan game, it looks like he's gonna be out of here.
And you know what? Especially with Harbaugh gone and there being a new Jerome Moore being the new coach, they have to win that game, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's going to be sympathetic if it happens. I mean, I have people that still talk about Tim Bianca-Batuka, which was like 20 years ago. He had this big, huge game, and people in Ohio State are still upset about that game. You know, they still talk about it. That's how crazy it is.
Alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to be talking about the first restaurant in the world that is completely run by robots.
Someone's gone all in on a restaurant.
Yeah.
Automation. All in.
All in. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier we were discussing Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, and now we're going to be diving into the world's first restaurant that is completely run by robots.
All right, go ahead.
I just want to say before I tell you guys about this, I don't like this idea. I'm somebody that works in the service industry, so I am not okay with this. I just want to put that out there before I dive into this.
Oh, we're gonna fight today, aren't we?
Alrighty, the world's first operating restaurant where orders and foods are taken care of by robots and AI is set to open in the United States. Perfect for those days where you can think of nothing worse than having to leave your house and interact with another human in order to get your burgers and fries fix. A restaurant coming to California where robots pretty much run the place. To me, this basically sounds like a Black Mirror episode. I don't know if you've seen Black Mirror.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, the very first episode, season 1, episode 1, greatest, most painful episode in television history, in my opinion. If you don't know that one, that's the politician one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was...
See? The light, I saw when the light came, like, oh, yeah.
Cali Express in Pasadena is set to open as the world's first operating restaurant where both ordering and every single cooking process are fully automated. When you step into Cali Express, BurgerBot and Flippy made by Miso Robotics will be the chefs behind your burger and fries order. The robotic arm and sensor systems cooking your food at your request. Miso Robotics says the robots taking the jobs of fast food workers will protect workers from the dangers which come from being around fast food fryers and hot oil. The robots
Tell me how you really feel.
Robots will also cut costs for restaurant and Cali Express not having to pay workers, subsequently making it more viable to offer higher quality products such as Wagyu. Okay. I'm gonna give my
I'm gonna let you. I'm
spiel.
gonna let you go. You got it. You got to go in here. I want you to. You go strong. You get the lead on this one. Then
Yeah.
I'll follow.
So I work in the service industry. I am a server when I am not doing the show or going to class. First off, waiters, waitresses, we're not paid a lot of money. Our income is strictly relies on tips because we only get paid I only get paid $2.13 an hour. So the fact that they're saying that they're trying to cut restaurant costs by just having robots, you're not spending a lot of money on your employees anyway. So also, my partner, he works in food. He is a pastry chef. So this affects him as well. So if robots become a thing, me and my partner could be out of a job completely. And this is his livelihood. Obviously, I won't be a server for the rest of my life, at least God willing. But this is his livelihood. This is his career. This is what he loves to do. And so the fact that they're trying to bring in stuff to take away people's jobs, I don't really like.
Keep on going, girl. Keep on going.
And like I said before, people in the service industry, even the people who work in the kitchen, are definitely not paid as much as they should be paid. So that's my take on that.
Anything else? I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm gonna do both sides. Yes, I am gonna go both. I'm gonna go both directions on this.
Well, I also just feel like, we're starting to lose the human touch in a lot of things, and I don't know if I like that or not. I love DoorDash as much as any other person does, because if I don't feel like going and talking to people, I don't have to. I can order food, it'll be delivered to my house, but how, in my opinion, how can you trust a robot to make sure that your burger is cooked all the way, or that it's cooked to a medium well if you wanted medium well? How are you going to trust that a robot can do that, So
okay. All right.
That's my spiel.
Okay. So first off, I do understand where you're coming from about waiters and waitresses not getting paid enough. This automation is coming. It's going to happen. But I'm going to say why, as a person who grew up and went through college and actually waited tables and was really good at it too. I made good money as a waiter.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we're still making the same amount of money. When you were waiting tables, you only get paid $2 something an hour. Mm-hmm. And then I remember I used to make $2 something an hour, and I'd make about $100 a night in tips back in those days. But now I'm looking at this as an adult now. Not meaning like you're not an adult, just meaning as I've gotten older and I've met more people who are restaurant owners. Mm-hmm. and things. And a few things that have come out. Number one, first off, in California, it's not that way. If you work in a fast food restaurant, the minimum wage is $20 an hour. That's the first thing. Mm-hmm. Take a look at that. That is $20 an hour, and that's the minimum wage. And I've lived in California for the last 30 years before moving where I live now, and know a number of restaurant owners, and their big problem, even at $15, $18, $20 an hour, is they can't get people to wait tables. I mean, not wait tables, but work at these restaurants. Mm-hmm. It's not this is coming about not because of hey, we're paying too much. It's they can't get people to work at all. So restaurants are closing their dining rooms because they don't have enough people to fill these jobs. Now we're talking about California. I'm not talking about on a national level. I'm just talking about what I have learned from talking to people.
there's definitely a shortage still in service industry workers. Where I work, we're very short staffed. Like last week I had to work a 15-hour shift because they didn't have somebody who could cover the morning shift that I had to work.
Exactly. So
yeah.
that is the issue. That has been what the big issue has been, is not enough workers. And then when you're in a situation where there's not enough workers, you run into a situation where you're saying not enough workers, not enough quality workers. For every one faith, there's someone that may have some issues, drug, alcohol, the things of that nature. So there are some issues with some of the workers that they have. Then you also look at the situation of coming off of a pandemic where people are starting to look at food safety. Also, the cost, inflation, as things go up and the cost of, we're talking a burger restaurant, the cost of burgers keep going up and up and up. This is a situation where I have a friend of mine that owns a large group of Habit burgers throughout California, and he's having these issues. These restaurants, the automated systems does a few things. One, you don't have, you cut down on how many waiters and more back office people, how many, I keep saying waiters, cooks and people, employees that you have to run the system. Two, quality of food. The quality of food, because it becomes consistent, because it's on an automated system, the burgers are always cooked at the same temperature. The buns are all this and this, everything is uniform. So you get a burger and you're like, this sucker's supposed to have 4 pickles. It has 1 pickle and it's on the side somewhere. All of that goes out the wayside where it's always consistent. The cost of everything kind of goes down so that the consumer ends up with a consistent product that is cooked at a consistent temperature and the cost is lower. Mm-hmm. All these type of automations, there's a give and take, because on that other side are people like my girl Faith here, who depend on, and not just saying that you depend on that job, but depend on these kind of jobs to pay their bills. And I could see how they would be worried where, hey, these machines are going to take our jobs. I get that side too. Now, your significant other, I don't see that affecting him because there's a difference between a burger restaurant where your robots are running the drive-through and running certain things, where a pastry chef, that is a personalized touch where the chef is doing something that's a little bit more than just cookie cutter. Mm-hmm. These robots are taking away the cookie cutter jobs, but like a high-end pastry chef who's making a wedding cake or making these amazing truffles and turnovers and pastry items, which we all love. I don't see that affecting them, but I do see it affecting more the cooks, the drive-through, the fast food restaurant. I can definitely see the fast food restaurant business ultimately changing. Do you see that?
Yeah, no, I understand like where you're coming from that perspective. Because there's already things like that in fast food restaurants. Like I've gone into McDonald's a couple times and they have like these huge tablets that you can like
the kiosks.
Do your
we
order
even have them
instead
here.
of like going up to the person at the register and taking the order. My only thing is like
go ahead.
How are these things gonna do like modifications, like do you know how many ridiculous requests I get of people trying to change up their food? Like, are the little robot hands going to be able to understand that?
Okay, because of those kiosks, because I it's one of those things where they're actually kind of made to order where there's less likely that they're going to happen. where we're still talking only fast food. I'm putting this in more of a fast food burger situation. I think there's always going to be a need for the faiths of the world. And that means there's going to be, maybe you're not serving burgers at a Habit Burger any longer or at a Pizza Hut. But I think more of the 4 and 5 star restaurants, that personal interaction, I don't see that going away, because everyone wants to go out and get out of the house on date night, or you want to meet with your buddies and watch the game. Those places are always, I think, will still be there. Me and my buddies were all going to see the Alabama-Georgia game and then Ohio State, Michigan. That will never disappear. I don't foresee that happening. But hey, I want to swing by McDonald's and get my double Big Mac and fries. Oh, I totally see that going away.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, or do you?
Yeah, no, I do
where
agree.
I'm coming from?
I will say that, like, fast food places, normally if I'm ordering from fast food, I'm doing DoorDash delivery. So
yeah,
I don't really interact with anybody with that.
If you have a taste for a White Castle burger or a Burger King burger, whether Becky and Jimmy makes it or a robot makes it, it's just, to me, it's going to be the same. But if I'm going to the local sports bar and I want a beer, I want wings, I want my waitress to bring it out, I want to watch the game and all that stuff, we're not having Judy Jetson's robot come out there and serve you and everything else. If you take a sports bar or a Chris out there, and it's Valentine's Day and you and your boyfriend are going to this nice restaurant. You got your hair done, you got a nice outfit on, he's styling and profiling, you guys sit down at the table, and this robot and this conveyor belt just spits out food on your table. That's not working. That's never gonna happen. Do you agree?
Yes, I do, because I work at a sports bar, and I could not imagine, like, a robot trying to get around all the people that are standing up and around watching the game as they're drinking their beers and eating their wings. It would be an absolute mess.
My Big Mac and filet of fish as I go through the drive-thru gets spit out on a conveyor belt. I'm cool with that. I'm going to the sports bar to hang out with my buddies. That's never gonna happen. It's not going away.
Yeah.
Feel a little better?
A little bit, yeah. But I mean, I still, I understand people getting upset about, like, jobs being taken away, because I mean, sometimes that's the only job some people can get at one time. So
I could see a scenario though where the food is more consistent as they're using more artificial intelligence in the back as far as making food, but in the front, guys like you and the people that wait tables and give that personalized experience, that becomes more of a premium. I could see jobs like that not only sticking around, but becoming more of a must, where they're paying a lot more, they're saving on the back end, but providing a much more pleasurable experience in the dining area, where you're bringing in the quality people to work, and they're paying them a lot more to give their people, their patrons, the best experience possible. So I could see a scenario where waiters and waitresses and cashiers are getting taken care of and getting paid more, because it's more important about that experience you're having in the dining room and less about that experience that's behind the scene.
Well, I guess if you're in California, make sure you're looking out for the robot restaurant, I guess.
And see, what do you think about, you're in Georgia, so maybe not so much, but living in California, you started to see the drones dropping packages off, the robot DoorDash guy that comes to your door and drops your food off, the being in San Francisco and having the self-driving Uber cars. You don't have a lot of that in Georgia right now. How do you feel about that?
As long as I don't have to tip a robot, I would be fine. I'm not gonna tip a robot.
You have less of those. Hey, you only gave me $3 on a $30 tip. I mean, on a $30 thing, and it's becoming more and more where the DoorDash people are like, "Listen, your tips suck. You need to cough up more money." Mm-hmm. You know what? I'll skip you, Becky, and I'll take the robot.
Well, with that, we're gonna take a quick break.
I don't think Faith doesn't like me. I may not make it to this next round. She's gonna be able to reach to the screen and start strangling me.
We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna dive into our oddities of the day. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing the world's first restaurant completely run by robots, and now we're going to be diving into our oddities of the day. Got an interesting one today. Interesting, to say the least. A wealthy woman in Shanghai, China, has decided to bequeath her $2.8 million fortune to her pets, completely excluding her 3 children from the inheritance. The woman reportedly felt neglected by her children in her old age and decided to leave everything to her loyal cats and dogs who stayed by her side. Chinese online reactions varied, with some supporting her decision, citing similar intentions for their own assets. As it's not legally possible to leave money directly to animals in China, a local veterinary clinic will manage the inheritance for the pets. The woman's will specifies that the funds must be spent on her pets and their offspring after her passing. Despite concerns about the risk, the China Will Registration Center suggests that she could modify her will if her children's attitudes change in the future.
Okay. This is not the first time I have seen this or heard this. It's happened in the U.S. Mm-hmm. This was a few years ago. I can't remember who the person was, but he was like a millionaire as well. And so what he did was he set up a trust for his dogs. And the trust made sure the dogs were taken care of and the offsprings of their dogs and everything like that. That's okay. No. Give me your side. I need to marinate on this one a little bit. This is weird to me.
Well, my parents watch this show, so I think I have to be very careful with what I say.
Hi, Mom and Dad.
Well, I treat my parents very well, so I'm not really worried that they're going to leave their money to their dogs instead of me. But my parents do love their pets, and they treat their pets like they are children. We've always had dogs growing up. and the dogs were always allowed like to get on the couch, sleep in the bed with us. We'd feed them food off our plate and stuff like that. So our dogs are always very spoiled. So while my parents love all of us, all the children, I don't foresee them leaving any part of their fortune to the dogs, and I would really hope that they wouldn't. But I guess guys, make sure you're treating your parents right, because if not, they're not gonna leave any inheritance for you. They're gonna leave it.
That is nuts.
Give it to their pets.
Okay. I love my dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love them. And I don't have a problem with people leaving, a trust for their pets to make sure their pets are taken care of,
Mm-hmm.
and their kids. But I don't know unless you have really horrible kids, they're still your offspring and you should take care of them.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe donate the money, to a family friend or another family member. That's a weird one. Because I get it because of the fact that your dogs are like your kids. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking more about the dogs, and I'm not really the cat guy.
Oh,
but
I love cats.
See, cats are wonderful, but yeah, the dog is so loyal to me. I have two Chihuahuas. How many cats? One or
I
more?
I have a dog right now that still resides with my parents, and then the cat is technically my boyfriend's cat, but we share the cat. It's our cat.
Wow.
So a dog and a cat.
Pets are wonderful. I love them. I don't know about how do you imagine this? At least with this family, they're kind of like, hey, we're not giving you crap. I'm giving it to the dog. Remember we were talking about that 9-month cruise, and the one family was like, you thought you were gonna get the inheritance?
Yeah.
I'm going on. You're spending an entire inheritance on a cruise?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd rather see my parents do that. Hey, we're going on a cruise. We're going to enjoy it and flip me the bird and move on and have a great time. Then you have been a horrible son. The money's going to Sparky.
Yeah. I think as long as like you've done all you can as a parent and your children are grown, I think, I don't really think your children should be depending on you to leave inheritance for them. That should.
Right. I agree with that as well. Each person should make their own path in life.
So as long as like the parents have done what they're supposed to, and like help them like pay for college and stuff, after they're grown up and have their own jobs and their own lives, I don't really feel like the parents should feel guilty for doing whatever they want to do with their own money, because they've done as much as they can for you. You're an adult now, but also, mom and dad, if you're watching, if you want to leave me inheritance, I'm not going to say no. But
mom
don't
and dad
feel the need to.
Faith has not been a good daughter. I am up for adoption, and I will call you every other day just to say hello, see how you're doing. You can come visit whenever you want to. I will be that new son.
I text my parents. My parents and I have a group chat. I text my parents every single day, and normally I call my mother.
That's awesome.
I normally call my mom once a week. So I've been a little busy though. So I think I talked to her 2 weeks ago. So I have to call her.
I used to have this thing where every Sunday, I actually learned this from my dad. When I was a kid growing up, every Sunday he would call his mom, and I've always tried to make it a rule to try to call my parents every Sunday. Now that my parents have gotten older, I try to call more often. But you know, I was thinking about this about a friend of mine who his dad is much older and his dad uses inheritance as a weapon. If you don't call me, I'm taking you out of the will. If you don't take me here, take me there. Every time, if it's like, Dad, I'm kind of busy right now. You don't deserve the inheritance, and he throws the inheritance up to make him do everything. I think that's bad as well. Yeah. But I think each person should be able to do whatever they want with their money. You know, I went out and I made my life and I made my career. So now that I'm older, I should, you know, somebody shouldn't be like waiting on me to kick the bucket so I can leave them their fortune. Right. So I don't feel that way either. I think each person should be able to do whatever they want. And if they want to leave it to their turtle Tippy and his inheritance,
listen,
I go for it.
I get it. I get it a little bit more with turtles because turtles live a really
long
time.
Yes. Turtles live forever.
If you have a turtle or a bird, I understand leaving a large sum for that pet because they live forever.
Ever. So, I mean, like, you get a turtle right now, your great grandkids will still have it. And this is where I'm with you. Leave that inheritance where it's in a trust, where it's like, you get a little allowance to take care of Tippy the turtle for generations. So it forces every family member. If you want that darn allowance, you got to take care of Tippy.
What an odd, that would be such an odd, like, family heirloom. Like,
yes, generations. Generations.
Imagine, like, your great grandmother passed away like 10 years ago and you have now bequeathed her
no. Worse than that. When the turtles, it's great grandma, you know, down the line. We didn't even know her. I don't even know what her name is, but we got her turtle. We have her turtle in hand right now. We're feeding him right now. You didn't even have a say in it.
I think at that point, I would find a good habitat for them to live in. Donate them to a zoo or something.
This is the reason why. This is that using the inheritance as a weapon. Put the money in a trust and be like, everyone who takes care of Tippy gets a monthly stipend for taking care of. Why did I name Tippy to make him Tippy the turtle? I don't know. But you get allowance as long as Tippy is alive.
Yeah. Well,
this is a weird one. I don't even know how to feel on this one. Robot restaurants and Tippy's inheritance.
Tippy's inheritance.
I've changed the whole story.
I guess my advice for you guys is, you know, treat your parents right, or they're not going to leave you anything. They're going to leave it all to their pets.
If your parents got bank, you better take care of them.
Yeah.
Take care of your parents anyway.
Yeah.
Even if they're broke as hell, do the best you can.
Love your parents as much as they have loved you.
Exactly. Be understanding as well.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we're going to close out the show. Thank you for tuning in to the Andrew Tate Show presented by GSMC Sports Network. Your support means a lot to us, so please remember to subscribe to the show and leave it a positive review. It really does make a difference. We also invite you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Thank you once again. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you tomorrow.